We're here talking with Mandy Mitchell, who's the executive director at Free Will Baptist Children's Home in Eldridge, Alabama. Mandy oversees the intake and placement process for every child that comes to the home, and she is going to answer today one of the most common questions that she hears, which is, where do your children come from? So let's just sort of dive in here. Where do your children come from? Actually, I want to ask it a little bit more specifically than that. I know that they're referrals, right? It's a referral process. So can you kind of tell us what that means? What is a referral in this case?
Sure. So when adoptive families are looking for resources, we come up in a related search. Our children's home does for that. So that is where most of our referrals come from people just Googling for help.
Anything related to this kind of thing.
Yes.
You start showing up in front of them. Okay.
Now, in the past, our referrals came from usually inside the state, families looking for help for kids they were raising, usually kinship placements, children who were not being raised by their parents, who were being taken care of by aunts, uncles, grandparents. And we just have not been getting as many calls for that lately, although we do still accept them and are willing to work with those families. But most of our referrals are from the adoptive families who are looking for help.
Okay. And so once they have found your information and maybe they've kind of reached out, talk to me a little bit about the intake process.
Sure. So starts with talking with me to see if we have an opening for the age of the child that they have, and getting basic information to see if we can meet the needs of that child.
Okay.
So if I think that we can, I'll have a lengthy conversation with them to try to get more information, see what's going on. And at the end of that conversation, if I feel like we can help, I will schedule a video meeting with the family, myself, our potential house parents, and our counselor to have a real in-depth conversation so that everybody can be on the same page and know what's going on.
Okay. So you personally speak to every family?
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
And then you go, you have this process that you go through, you have the video meet with everybody on. How do you place the children? And I guess what factors are you considering in that decision?
So we are basically just trying to decide if we think we can handle the behaviors that the child has.
Okay.
And as I had said previously in a video, a lot of times these children are having behaviors in their adoptive homes that they're not having other places.
Right.
So that's a big thing that we look for is, can the child do well in another surrounding?
Okay.
That's usually a good indicator for us, is if we might be able to help, if they have the ability to do well somewhere.
Okay.
There are some kids that struggle with their behavior everywhere.
Okay.
And so sometimes that's an indication that we might not be the best place for them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But another thing that we're looking for is that they don't have like moderate to severe behaviors that would require a more therapeutic setting.
Right.
Someone that's going to need a therapeutic setting with a counselor and psychiatrist on staff that would need a more restrictive type of placement. And we are not restrictive.
Okay.
So we're very basic.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? So what kind of maybe behavior issues or problems are you guys able to serve? And then kind of specifically what is sort of beyond you that they would need to be referred somewhere else?
So, as I said before, if they're just having the behaviors inside the adoptive home, but not other places, and those behaviors would be more like, tantrums, emotional outbursts, defiance, and some mild forms of aggression. If there are severe aggression that's happening with a child, if there is homicidal thoughts, suicidal thoughts, if they're harming animals, if they are starting fires, then those are pretty severe issues that are going to go beyond what we can manage.
Okay. Also, earlier you were saying something about you want to make sure you have an opening for the age level of the child. Can you tell us a little bit about what sort of number of children you have in each age group and sort of how that's organized?
Sure. So we have 4 houses, 2 for girls, 2 for boys, roughly divided by ages. We are licensed for children ages 6 to 19.
Okay.
And so we try to have our cutoff around 13 to be with our older and younger. So we really look at maybe 6 at being the most that each house parent couple could handle. And then
Okay.
our single house parents, maybe 5, maybe 6. It really just depends. And sometimes even with those numbers, it depends on the issues of the child.
Okay.
If you've got a couple of children that really take a lot of your time, need a lot of your energy, it might be difficult to handle 6.
Yeah.
So that's something that we look at when we are deciding if we have an opening, if a house parent can handle another
Okay.
child in the home.
Okay. When a child comes to you, let's say they've been through the whole process and, you've matched them with a house parent, you feel good about the situation. When they walk through the door, what can they expect? Talk to me about kind of like how they're supported just from the minute they arrive.
Well, one thing that's amazing to me is that, well, for one, the kids have already visited. They have been
Okay.
on a pre-placement visit. They have met everyone. They have usually spent at least an overnight with us, so they know what to expect.
Okay.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And our staff and our kids, they're really good about just making them feel welcome.
Mhm.
And some children that we have, it seems like they've always been there. They just fit in really well.
Yeah.
And so there's really not a lot of pomp and circumstance to it. They just get started in whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
We get them settled in and we get busy with what we're about to do.
Just fall right into the
Fall
pack.
right in.
Yeah. So I know you serve a lot of children in the state of Alabama, but you also have out-of-state children. So tell me a little bit about the difference in the process with out-of-state children.
So the biggest difference in the process is with out-of-state children, we have to do a process called the Interstate Compact for Placement of Children, which is a federal regulation that we have to comply with. And it's very simple, but basically what it is each state keeping track of kids going across state lines.
Okay.
So in almost every case, it's a formality,
Okay.
but it is something that we have to do. And so it's not anything that is a big burden to the parents. You don't need an attorney for it. It's something that I do mostly with a little bit of paperwork from the parents, but it's a pretty simple process, but it is something that we have to do for out-of-state kids.
Okay. So basically, like if the child is from the state of Georgia, but they come to your home in Alabama, then that just means the state of Georgia keeps up with where they are.
Right, exactly.
Okay. That makes sense. And then can you just tell people who are watching this video who are thinking, wow, actually, I know, a family this might be a good match for, or I know a child who might be a good match for this home. If they want to reach out to you and just start that conversation, what should they do first?
I would tell them to go to our website and look
Okay.
at our website. We have a lot of information on there. There's a frequently asked questions section that answers a lot of questions for people, some videos. And then just to email me or call me personally. My information is on the website. And, as you said before, I do talk to every family.
Yeah.
So that would be where you would start.
Okay. And that website is, you want to say it? Let's do that again.
Okay.
That website is what?
fwbhome.org.
Okay, perfect. So this is Mandy Mitchell, Executive Director of the Free Will Baptist Children's Home, fwbhome.org if you want more information or to reach out to her. And thank you for telling us about this process. I think it's been really enlightening.
Thank you.